and they come out of the comfort zone of having a job and risk everything in life to do something. And normally, every new business which succeeds, nearly 90 of them fail. So that's a huge risk-taking one does when you start a business, and I'm indeed very delighted that such large number of successes we have heard in IT space here. Pharmaceutical healthcare is slightly different. There are no immediate successes one can see in year, 2 years or 3 years' time because it is based on research, because it is based on unmet medical needs. But what I can tell you that when we started very small, I think as a company we have gone through various phases of major transformation. The first phase was basically to survive and grow and become a reasonable size. So first 10, 15 years gone into that. Then obviously we became an important national company, Indian company, among the top few of them. And after this liberalization of Narasimha Rao, I think all of us felt, at least some of us felt, not all, some of us felt that this is a challenge and opportunity both, because the Patent Act was coming, India is going to be very different, and we had the world to look at it. So as a company, we looked to globalize, to go outside India, and we were one of the earlier movers and the industry itself was an earlier mover to go out, acquire companies and create base outside India. And today we are a global company. We have overall, both in our pharmaceutical and hospitals and foundation, about 10,000 people working with us, about 1,500 of them working outside India, in US and Europe. So our business is about 2/3 outside India, about 1/3 in India. So that's the kind of a profile which we have created. But one important thing is that at early stages in 90, along with globalization, one of the focus area was research. Today we spend about 15% of revenue on research. And one of the areas of drug discovery, which somebody was asking me earlier, a question on innovation and drug discovery, we focus on antibiotic as an area of drug discovery, mainly because every area you do, you have to be, how would you succeed in competition? And it is impossible to succeed with the big pharma when they themselves spend billions of dollars in research. So we had to identify an area where we could succeed. Antibiotic is one of the areas which big pharma had vacated since 80s because there were no blockbuster product possible. Second reason was that India and emerging market use 20-25% of total pharmaceutical as antibiotics, anti-infective. So we thought there is a possibility of success if we work on it, but the road is long. And so one of the important things is this is 20 years back we started. We will have our own drug in next 3 to 4 years in the US market, and in India we will have next year. 5 of our drugs have been recognized as a breakthrough drug by the US FDA for those antibiotics. So it's not you are competing in a local space. You are competing in a global space with the research. Just to get you an idea that the challenge of drug resistance and the superbugs have become such a big one that the UK government under Jim O'Neill, Lord O'Neill, who was the chairman earlier of Goldman Sachs and also a minister in the Conservative government, had come out with a paper 2 years back saying that if new antibiotics are not discovered, 10 million people will die by 2050 in the world. And some of the drugs which we are bringing out some of the products we are bringing out probably will save a lot of lives, and those predictions will not come true. So what is important here, the thought I'm putting across is not only you have to identify in our industry opportunities, but you need to be persistent for a long period of time. That is how we globalize ourselves, by acquiring companies in UK, in US, in France, in Ireland, And that is, we use that as a nucleus to build. As an industry, 15, 17 years back, Indian companies hardly had a business in US. Today, 35% of prescription written are manufactured in India and is exported. So the industry itself has become hugely competitive. The second aspect is that India also have contributed a lot in terms of meeting some of the major healthcare needs in the emerging market, like anti-AIDS products, which were available for a fraction of a cost, have been able to control. Today, 75% of anti-AIDS drugs are manufactured in India. About 60% of vaccines are manufactured in India. So all this demonstrates that the ecosystem of the industry is important. Like IT industry has so much competition, a lot of people are successful. I think the same is happening in our industries, pharmaceutical and healthcare. There are great players, there are many companies are there, and all of them would like to do, and all of them are not doing the same thing. All are doing differently. And I think a lot of speakers earlier mentioned that you have to identify an unmet need. Unless you can identify an unmet need, nothing much is going to happen. So after writing this book, I thought it will be a good idea that we could carry forward the idea of entrepreneurship. And that is the thought which I've put across to create a school of courage. Because every entrepreneurship requires a lot of risk-taking, courageous people to do that. But sometimes we give up too early, and sometimes we don't do whatever is required, and we look at the success story of others, and we like to do the same thing. Generally, that is where you don't succeed. And therefore, I think people did mention unmet need, the value creation. I think value creation we have to do everywhere, whether you are an entrepreneur or a professional. You cannot succeed in life unless you continue to create value, whatever you are doing in life. So this reminds me, and this school of courage which I was mentioning, which we are doing along with a knowledge partner, Accenture. And it will work like this, that first somebody must read the book. So it's part of not only promoting the book, but what is important is must understand what are the learning which has come out of this journey of 50 years. And then out of that, there will be some questionnaires, and we would select few people. And there would be a mentoring done by me, and along with that, Accenture will provide the theoretical knowledge, basic knowledge of good business and how to run it. And this will be a 12-month program for the entrepreneurs who are selected. And that would be, obviously, there would be no cost to him accepting to spend your time to listen. And I think one of the most important lessons in life is that opportunities don't come. Opportunities needs to be created in the sense that what you see, everybody sees. But what is important that you think differently. And that is what some of the speakers earlier did mention. Okay, they saw whatever was happening, understood the customer, but they thought differently how to deal with those issues, and not in a normal and traditional manner. And that is where the new opportunity comes. Because opportunity flies all over the place. It's our ability to identify those opportunities when it is there. As someone says, live as if you want to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. So that is what it's all about. And I thought, with this thought, I wouldn't like to take up too much of time because It's running late in the evening, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share some of my thoughts.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Khorakiwala, for those wonderful words there that you've shared with us. Once again, I'm going to request Ms. Rutu Maria to please present the bouquet and the token of gratitude. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and on that note, we managed to hear from all of our thought leaders. We managed to gain some perspectives from them as well and keep that entrepreneurial spirit alive, thanks to them. But with that, it also comes to our next very special segment of the evening, and I'm sure all of you have been waiting for this moment as well, because we're going to have the presence of another very celebrated actor and also an entrepreneur himself joining us in a short while. But while we do that, I hope all of our energy and momentum is also on, because our celebrity actor who's joining us is very well known for the kind of energy that he has, whether it's on the screen or off the screen. So we need to keep those smiles widened, and we need to keep the energy absolutely high up in the air. What we're going to do now is, of course, play across this video of the roadshow that we had in terms of our Startup 2018. So we managed to go across to all these 8 cities and grasp the best of the concepts and also select the best of the ideas. So let's probably play across that video, the roadshow video. If I can request the team console to please play the video right away.